Now, how do I do this again? Sunshine? Is this even Milan-Sanremo? Hold on, just let me check the breakaway. Okay, we got Jan Barta, Matteo Bono, Martin Cialinghi, Andrea Perrone. Yep, that sounds like Milan-Sanremo. The good weather seemed to make teams happy to share the early pace-making burden, moving fast enough to cut into the escape's advantage and outpace local mass transit, but not so fast that Trek Segafredo's Fabian Cancellara struggled to get back to the peloton after a mechanical. But as is becoming an unfortunate tradition at this event, the first sign of racing heating up was crashes, first at 58k to go, then another into the side of a Volkswagen 6k later, followed by the usual clumping of strong teams at the front of the field to keep their top riders out of said crashes. This resulted in increased competition for space on the road and between the flares and tight squeezes in coastal towns. Yeah, more crashes. Let's just remind ourselves that the break is still there, winnowed down to 6 following a series of attacks, before cutting back to the peloton for, surprise, another crash. This one was a little different though, as it happened at the front and caught up several protected riders. FDJ's Arnaud Démare actually gets out of it pretty quickly, but Tinkoff's Daniele Benatti feels it's more important to have a word with Orica Greenedge's Michael Matthews than chase back on. The field didn't exactly wait up, but by the bottom of the Cipressa, a quick ride on the Bora Argon 18 train had Démare back inside the team cars. Some riders have said they saw Démare get towed on the climb, but while the cameras don't catch everything, here's what I saw. A relatively unaggressively raced Cipressa that took 3 minutes to reel in the brake's 17-second advantage. Démare's teammates Mathieu Ladagnu and Kevin Reza looking back from the tail of the field, Movistar's Giovanni Visconti and Sky's Ian Stannard attacking and leaving the pack to pretty much sit up behind them, a near-stop bottleneck at the top of the climb, and Démare appearing on a teammate's wheel at the back of the field on the descent, joined by a host of other crash refugees by the bottom. But back to the pointy end. BMC's Daniel Oss, who's close to earning himself a wait for it, bridged up to the lead duo with ATEX Quickstep's Fabio Sabatini at 17k to go. This might have been a dangerous move had Sabatini not immediately made it known that he was just there to make things easier for teammates behind. Katusha organized a chase, but both they and the breakaway were swamped by the field as each team tried again to jam their riders to the front before the Poggio. But again, the climb itself was pretty easy, with BMC and Katusha tapping out a not exactly leg-breaking pace until Southeast's Andrea Fady hit out with 7.4k to go, eliciting no response except for a wishful-thinking Chiron. Eventually, one or two others tried to bridge, but it was Lotto Soudal's Tony Galopin who finally got the big names chasing, and Sky's Michał Kwiatkowski, whose counterattack sent him solo over the top. Despite full top-tube pedaling commitment, his gap was thin until Tinkoff's Peter Sagan curiously refused to pull. This prompted Astana's Vincenzo Nibali to attack, but first to his wheel was an EQS rider. At the bottom, Galopin hit out again, and EQS immediately marked him with Gianluca Brambilla. Cancellara was the next to try his luck, and once again Quickstep, in the form of Matteo Trentin, was ready to follow. Cancellara wasn't about to tow the Italian to the line, and after catching Kwiatkowski, he sat up, leading to the next counter from Dimension Data's Edvald Bosenhagen. The Norwegian got some space, even as BMC's Greg Van Avermaet responded, and further down the road, EQS sprinter Fernando Gaviria chased as well, which is pretty bold for a 21-year-old sprinter in his first classic. As they rounded the final bend, though, the gamble seemed to pay off, with Gaviria ideally positioned until he got his front wheel hung up and went down. While it's amazing that Sagan and Cancellara managed to dodge the crash, the evasion effectively took them out of the sprint as well. But for Lotto's Jürgen Roelands, whose leadout had just pulled off, the timing was almost ideal, except that's a long 250 meters. That left Démare and Cofidis Nasser Bouhanni ideally positioned to pull Roelands back, but Bouhanni's drivetrain failed 150 meters out, ironically just as he was passing Van Avermaet, who suffered a similar fate here back in 2013. Sky's Ben Swift had the right wheel and got a nice draft past the fading Roelands for second, but never challenged Démare, who had plenty of time to celebrate as he crossed the line. I'm Cosmo Catalano, and that's how the race was won.